Hey, you, get over here. Are you ready to vote? Do you know all the things you need to know to vote in this year's elections? I didn't think so. That's why I brought in the doctor, the good doctor, Dr. Z, up next on What's Happening MoCo.
What? Good day, and welcome to What's Happening MoCo, an authentic, unscripted podcast from your Montgomery County government. Now, here's your host, Derek Kenny.
Good day, and welcome to What's Happening MoCo. Today I am joined by the good doctor, Dr. Z, the doctor of voting for Montgomery County, Maryland, Dr. Gilberto Zalaya. He's from the Montgomery County Board of Elections. Good day, Dr. Z. How are you today?
How are you? I'm blessed. Thank you for having me.
All right. And I will say affectionately known as Dr. Z by residents, voters, and others because he is the man with all the information that you as residents need to know to get ready for this year's election. What can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role with the Board of Elections? And how long have you been doing this?
Okay, well, I joined the Board of Elections in 2003. So it's
Wow.
been a while.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of elections, a lot of experience working with an outstanding team at the Montgomery County Board of Elections. We're a small shop, about 32, 33 individuals. We do bulk up as we lead up to an election with outstanding civic-minded temps that really buttress our need to support our voters and to serve their needs. I'm the Public Information Community Engagement Officer for the Montgomery County Board of Elections. And really, the title itself is engagement and making sure
Right.
that our voters have all the information at their hands.
Right. And one thing I want to do is make sure that people are aware of what's at stake in this election. Not like what's at stake, like this, you have to go out and vote, but it's your right and your civic power as a resident of Montgomery County to get out to
Mhm.
vote. What are some of the elections that people should be aware of taking place this year?
Yeah. So, of course, our nation's about to celebrate its 250th anniversary. So
Woohoo!
there's a lot of
All right.
historical aspect of voting,
Mhm.
civil rights movements, the advent of the Voter Rights Act, the different amendments to the Constitution, Bill of Rights. It's just the plethora
Mhm.
of advancements to the franchise to ensure that every voter gets to vote. This particular year is the 2026 gubernatorial elections. And we'll get into the dates and deadlines, obviously.
Mhm.
But on the ballot, some of the contests will be governor, lieutenant governor. There's some federal races, county council, county executive. And so it's important that individuals start formulating a vote plan. I know there are many candidates knocking on doors and circulating
Mhm.
advertising, mailers, etc. But full disclosure, we do not have any information regarding the positions or the stance of any of the candidates.
Mhm.
You need to do that research on your own. Google it. The League of Women Voters has an outstanding voters guide. But we basically ensure that during early voting and on election day, that the polls open at 7 and they close at 8. And as long as voters in line by 8, they'll get to vote. And
All
then
right.
we'll talk a little bit about the different ways of voting, including mail-in voting.
Yeah, how about that? I was getting ready to get to that just next because in many cases, people don't have enough patience
Mhm.
to watch the entire podcast episode like they should. So we want to make sure we give them as
Mhm.
much information possible in the beginning part of this
Mhm.
conversation. So let's go ahead and delve into that. What are some of the voting options available
Mhm.
to residents, and what are some of the deadlines they should be aware of?
Okay. So Montgomery and which is within the state of Maryland,
Hmm.
we have three ways of voting. Number one is mail-in voting, formerly known as absentee voting.
Okay.
You do not need an excuse. There are individuals, about 117,000 Montgomery County voters,
Oh
who
wow.
are on the permanent mail-in list.
Okay.
So it's important that if you signed up to be on the permanent list, right, permanent
Hmm.
active list, but you've changed your mind and maybe this particular election you want to vote in person,
Yeah.
you need to contact us ASAP to get your name off that list.
Oh
Mail-in
wow.
ballots should circulate, should drop into the postal stream around Mother's Day, a day here or there,
Hmm.
before or after. And also, we will install our 58 ballot drop boxes strategically across the county. There's going to be a lot of information we're going to share here, but everything will be mailed to you
Right.
as a sample ballots. All right.
Oh,
So all the information. So number one,
fantastic.
if you're on the permanent list, Great. You're going to get a notification. If you want to get off the permanent list because you want to vote in person, do that
Mhm.
ASAP. You could call our office at 240-777-8500, and we could definitely help you out. And all the information is on our website at 777votes.org.
All right.
So first one is mail-in voting.
Mhm.
Second option, we have two in-person options. Number one is voting early. The early season for the primary elections from the 11th through the 18th of June. We have 14 early voting centers. All of that information is on our website. And once again, we will mail that sample ballot with all the corresponding information, locations, address, et
All
cetera,
right.
to each registered voter. And then the last option to vote in person will be on election day, which is Tuesday, June 23rd. Which is
Wow.
important is if you're voting early, you are not tied to the nearest early voting center. Okay. So that's kind of it's advantageous because
Mhm.
as you know, Montgomery County and just the DMV traffic is horrible, right? It's
Right.
horrendous. So if you happen to work in a district, it's the
Mhm.
last day of early voting, you have something to do over the weekend, you won't be here in person on election day, knock it out during early voting.
Right.
But you don't have to, let's say if you live in Gaithersburg, you don't have to go
Mhm.
all the way up to Bower Park. You could vote at the downtown Silver Spring Civic Building. So make a
Okay.
vote plan. Make a vote plan.
All right.
Individuals during the early voting season could text the letters EV plus a zip code to
Okay.
77788. And that texting prompt during the early voting season from the 11th through the 18th of June will give you the three nearest early voting locations,
Oh,
driving
wow.
directions, and wait times.
Can you say that one more time?
So
Okay.
during the early voting season, if
Okay.
you want to identify the nearest early voting location, we have
Mhm.
14. You text the letters E and V plus your zip code or a
Okay.
zip code to 77788 during the 11th through the 18th. It doesn't work
Okay.
before or after. And the system, the texting prompt will give you the nearest early voting centers, driving directions, and also wait time. So it's a
Oh,
great
wow.
tool. We've had
That's
that for a
amazing.
couple of years. People
Okay.
love it. And as pertains to those who are voting by mail, if you want to identify the nearest ballot drop box,
Mhm.
all you have to do is text the word box and your zip code, box and your zip code to 77788, and it will give you the nearest drop box and also a post office locator.
Oh, wow.
So in
Okay.
case maybe a drop box, but over
Mhm.
95% of our ballot drop boxes are within 2 to 5 miles of our registered voters. So they're accessible. We have 58 of them.
Okay, great.
And one thing that's very important to know,
Mhm.
if you're voting by mail and you tend to procrastinate, we're all creatures of
Yeah.
habit,
Yeah. How about that?
and
Mhm.
you have it under your pillow or whatnot, and it's like the week of early voting,
Right.
or election day is coming, that make sure that that mail-in ballot, that envelope
Mhm.
gets postmarked by the clerk at the post office, which means do not assume if you just deposit it in one of the 600 those blue collection USPS bins
Yeah.
across the county,
Mhm.
or at the post office, that they're going to frank it or date stamp it that
Okay.
particular day. So walk it in, get in line, and have the postmaster or the clerk stamp that particular date. Remember, post offices close normally around 5, but that's the benefit of our drop boxes. They're available 24/7 from the moment we've installed them all the way until election night, June 23rd, 8 p.m.
All right. So for early voting, you can vote wherever you like to, any voting
Mm-hmm.
center.
Mm-hmm.
If you are mailing in your vote, you can vote. You can drop it in any type of vestibule,
The
whatever
drop boxes.
receptacle, whatever
Mm-hmm.
drop boxes
Mm-hmm.
or mailboxes, as
Mm-hmm.
long as you do it early enough for them to be stamped within time for the voting.
Yes, if you're going to
Okay.
use the post office, you need to get it franked with that particular date.
Mhm.
If it happens to be election day, the 23rd of June, take it to a Dropbox, okay?
Okay.
Because the post offices normally close at 5. What
Wow.
happens is once we get in that mail-in ballot, if it's postmarked after the 23rd, like the 24th or 25th,
Mhm.
we're not going to incorporate into our canvas, and it's not going to be scanned and counted.
Now let's talk about the day of.
Mhm.
If people want to vote the day of,
Mhm.
what are some of the concerns that people may
Mhm.
have that they articulate to you, or
Mhm.
questions they have for you, concerns, and what are some of the best answers they should be aware of?
Perfect. So that's a great question. It's part of formulating a vote plan, right?
Mhm.
Number one, obviously, we mentioned that early voting, you're not tied to the nearest location. You could go to any of the 14 locations. Election day, our preference is that you go to your corresponding election day polling place, which is listed on the back cover of your sample ballot voter's guide. Now, what's important about that, if for whatever reason you are not near your election day polling place,
Mhm.
you could go to any polling place, but you will vote a provisional ballot. We
Okay.
do not turn voters away. So that's a safeguard in itself. However, we want to ensure that you get the appropriate ballot style, that you're in the appropriate location. But if
Mhm.
you happen and you live up county, you're stuck down county traffic, you're not going to make it by 8 p.m., find the nearest election day polling place, get
Okay.
in line, and you vote provisional. It's a safeguard. But to identify the appropriate, if you misplace your sample ballot, text
Mhm.
the word check to 77788. Check to 77788. And you could
Check
check your voter
77788.
registration and
Okay.
check your election day polling place.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
then you could identify where you need to be. So, it's early enough that you can start formulating the vote plan.
Mhm.
Also, very important, the voter registration deadline is Tuesday, June 2nd. So if you got married, maybe divorced, you've downsized because
Oh,
your kids are
wow.
away to
All
college,
the
you bought a
above.
bigger
Okay.
house,
Yeah.
all the above,
Mhm.
we don't need to know the circumstances. What we
Mhm.
need for you is to update your Maryland voter registration.
Oh, wow.
To
Okay.
do that, text the word update. Update, simple word, update to 77788.
Okay.
And you can use the online voter registration system to update your voter registration ASAP.
So I'm hearing 77788 quite a bit.
Yes.
And I guess that's on purpose.
Mhm.
And a lot of what you're doing relates to your community engagement, making things as
Mhm.
easy as possible for residents.
Yes.
So let's go down the list one more time of
Yes.
the contact information and the
Yes.
critical things people need to have as tools
Yes.
to
So
get their
tools.
things.
Yes, that trusty cell phone. So
All
the
right.
first one is registering to vote.
Okay.
Text the word vote to 77788. Vote to 77788. You will need to have one of the three forms of ID, which is your
Mhm.
driver's license or learner's permit or MVA ID.
Okay.
And you will also need to provide the last four digits of your social security number. Okay. If you don't have one of the three forms of ID, you won't be able to use the online voter registration system. You could call our office at 240-777-8500. You could also register. There's applications at the libraries, rec centers. You could go
Oh,
to the
wow.
Motor
Okay.
Vehicles Administration to
Mhm.
register to vote as well, or our offices in Gaithersburg. That's the first step. Second step, if there's life changes, whatever it is, or maybe you want to affiliate. Remember,
Mhm.
Maryland has closed primaries. So if there's a candidate that's a registered Democrat or a Republican, and you want to support that individual with your vote, you have to be under that flag or registered of the two major parties.
Okay.
If you need to update your registration, etc., text the word update to 77788.
Okay.
If you want to check that your registration's up to speed, that everything is current since the last election, which was the
Mhm.
2024 presidential, text the word check. Just check your registration to 77788.
All right.
Now let's say you want to vote by mail
Mhm.
and you want to request a ballot, right? Text the letters VBM. That's for vote by mail. VBM to 77788. And you can request your mail-in ballot online using our texting prompt. During the early voting season, if you want to identify the nearest early voting center, text the letters E and V plus your zip code to 77788. If
Wow.
you want the nearest drop box, the word is box and your
Mhm.
zip code to the same number, 77788. And the last one, and we talked about earlier, you want to check your election day polling place, text
Mhm.
the word check to 77788.
All right. So I'm going to give you've given all this
Yes,
information,
it's a lot.
but for people like
Mhm.
myself that are a little ADHD or ADD, or all
Yeah,
those things, or
ABC,
just get
XYZ.
information overload.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I'm going to give you a couple of items, and you'll give me the dates associated.
Mhm.
Absolute last chance to vote this year in the primaries.
So, number one is the advanced voter registration is June 2nd. Election day is the last opportunity to vote in person, which is Tuesday, June 23rd.
June 23rd.
And
Okay.
early voting season is from the 11th through the 18th of June.
Okay.
Okay, so it's very important. Ballot drop boxes and mail-in ballots will start circulating, or the boxes will be installed around Mother's Day
Mhm.
through June 23rd,
Okay.
2026.
Cool. And if I wanted to register to vote, if I'm not registered to vote, or if I need to change my party affiliation, I can do that starting now, or I
Yes, you
can do
could do
that
it starting
whenever?
yesterday.
Starting yesterday,
Yes,
fantastic.
yeah.
All right.
So, and you know the texting prompt.
Mhm.
You need to register. The word is vote. You need to check your registration. The word is check. If you need to update your registration, the word is update to 77788.
77788. And we'll have those words. If you guys want to watch the video, go to Facebook or watch us on cable, County Cable Montgomery, 6 p.m. on Sundays. Best way to watch this. Cable's great. All right. No bias there. Now, this is an interesting climate that we're in for different reasons. And there are many people that may be voting for the first time or voting again, but within this new climate, don't feel as safe and secure as they have in the past. What type of security will be provided, or what types of things should people be aware of as they go out to vote in person or even to drop off of ballots? Should there be concerns? Are there measures in place to make sure things are easy as possible for folks that want to participate?
So we have safeguards up and down the tree. Okay. We do work with the local authorities. We do work with Montgomery County Police. If a drop box or polling place or early voting center are within the city limits of, let's say, the city of Gaithersburg or Rockville, we work closely with their police department. We've been working on this since the last election. We just didn't decide to wake up 90 days before and hey, let's get this party started. Yeah, why not? No, we've been working best practices since we certified the presidential general elections in 2024. Also, keep in mind that none of our equipment is connected to the internet while individuals are scanning their ballots on election day or during early voting.
Oh, really? Okay.
We are going to start our pre-canvass early June for those individuals who are voting by mail. So if you want your mail-in ballot to be quote unquote counted or part of the election night release, don't sleep on it. Send it ASAP to us. The quicker and the more mail-in ballots we get to canvass on election night, we're going to release all pre-canvass mail-in ballots, those results. We're going to release the early voting over the 8 consecutive days at the 14 centers. And then at last, the polling places as they trickle in on election night. But if you wait until the 23rd or the week of before the onset of early voting or election day, we're not guaranteeing that your mail-in ballot will be counted as such because there's other things we need to do. We're running almost a mini post office with our 58 drop boxes.
Oh, wow, yeah.
You know, and here's a call for our outstanding civic-minded poll workers. We're a small team.
Right.
We have over 700,000 registered voters. We need volunteers. To serve as a poll worker, you can earn up to $250 per day. For high school kids, you can earn up to 25 SSL. If you are a graduating senior and work multiple days of early voting and election day, you can make about almost up to $2,300.
Oh, wow.
So it's a nice little
That's
bit of change.
Senior. Okay,
yeah, right.
And then book money. Well,
yes, exactly.
Tablet money, I guess.
Exactly. And then those rising seniors or current juniors and underclassmen, they could work 3 days for up to just math at that point, $250 times 3, $750 plus $50 for training, or 75 SSL. And so it's important that individuals understand that part of the safeguards is having also poll workers, that they're trained and they're vetted. It's not just the technology aspect of it, not being connected on the internet. Everything is scanned and barcoded. There's tamper tapes, there's tabs, there's locks. Also, a first line of defense of our poll workers. We train them, they're vetted, they're registered voters.
It's wonderful. Now, if someone wants to be a poll worker, how do they go about the process of applying or being eligible?
Yes. So number one, you have to be at least 16 years of age, U.S. citizen, and live in the state of Maryland. So we do have individuals from Prince George's and Frederick County that serve as poll workers in Montgomery County. Number two is you have to be registered in the state. Obviously, for those high school kids, the first time you will vote is as long as you're 18 by the general elections, which is kind of interesting because a 17-year-old could vote in the primaries as long as they turn 18 by November 3rd.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's
That's
interesting. Yes.
Okay.
So that's kind of a little tidbit for our listeners and our viewership. But it's important that for those who want information, what they could do is text the word serve and their email, serve and their email to 77788. And then the system will email you all the information about poll worker service. But you could go to our website at 777vote.org, 777vote.org, and all the information is there. Click the election worker tab. You have a bunch of FAQs and next steps.
So what I'm hearing throughout this is that any type of information that you need or any type of registration you may need to execute you can happen with your cell phone. You can put in your cell phone 77788 plus the appropriate prompts. You can be a few steps away from registering to vote, to getting a job, temporary job as a poll worker,
Mhm.
to getting additional information,
Mhm.
all of these things. How did all this innovation come about? Like, there's quite a few things that are just
Yeah.
not assumed to have.
Yeah, so I think it was around 2018. I was driving, and everyone has apps on their phones,
Hmm.
and you get these notifications, and I'm like, oh, I'm getting another notification. I think
Yeah.
near Target or something. Then I'm thinking, wait a second, if I could do this for us, for our voters, and we start exploring,
Hmm.
recognition to TEBS. They're
Yeah.
outstanding. They're our partners in this.
TEBS, Technology and Enterprise Business Solutions.
Yes,
The technology department from Montgomery County, Maryland.
Yes,
That wonderful department, award-winning department. Oh wow!
outstanding. And we won, and we've won numerous awards. You could
Oh
from
wow!
DOJ,
All right.
GAO, the Election Center, NACO,
Mm.
IGO, the texting prompt. And one thing I failed before we like disappear is Future Vote. We have a program called Future
Future
Vote,
Vote, yeah.
which is our youth program that I started in 2004 when I joined the Board of Elections.
We're talking about innovation.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. We allow middle school kids to serve in our polling place. And ideally, when these students turn 16 years of age, we encourage them to become election workers, poll workers on
Mhm.
election day or during early voting. And an interesting tidbit, nationally, there's like 3,200 counties, and we're considered a
Mhm.
large county. The average age of poll workers is mid 60s, give and take. Montgomery
Wow.
County, since the 2020 elections, our poll worker age averages between 49 and 51,
Oh wow.
because about 10% of
Mhm.
our poll workers are actual high school kids, 16 and 17-year-olds, and about 24% of our poll workers are under 25. So the Future Vote has been a great recruitment tool. It teaches
Mhm.
our youth about the process of voting, about the franchise, how to vote in Maryland. And then once they come of age, they have all the information, they have all the texting prompt, and they know how to
Wow.
flex their constitutional right, especially if they join the military, workforce, or go away to college. They know when and how to ask for their mail-in ballot if they're not local.
That's awesome. That's called Future Vote.
Future Vote.
Now,
Everything's on our website,
okay. There we go.
777vote.org. And if you want more information, parents, guardians could text the letters FV and your email to 77788, FV, and your email to 77788.
All right. All right. It's such a diverse county, and people with different cultures, different
Mhm.
levels of ability,
Mhm.
different languages they speak natively.
Mhm.
What type of accommodations do you have for people with different disabilities
Mhm.
or languages to ensure that they
Mhm.
have a great and fulfilling experience voting in
Mhm.
the county?
Great question. So Montgomery County, we recognize, as you say, we're diverse. For many
Mhm.
decades, we have 3 to the 5 most diverse cities in the country, right? But we've always embraced it beyond Section 203 of the 1975 Voter Rights Act, which requires us legally to have a Spanish-speaking poll worker in every single polling place and or
Mhm.
election early voting center. That's a legal requirement by the Department of Justice. However, we recognize and embrace the diversity. So through Future Vote and other activities such as this, we recruit individuals to serve in our polling places. So we have that language competency and also that cultural competency,
Mhm.
because the families, the poll workers, the voters, the students, they literally live and they are a reflection of their neighborhoods because they work
Yeah.
in their local polling places. We also have the language line. We
Mhm.
also have literature and information in the different languages. We encourage and work with the Maryland State Board of Elections to translate the voter registration and the mail-in applications into Chinese, Korean,
Oh,
Vietnamese,
wow. Okay.
French, Spanish, and English. So
Mhm.
we're always ahead of the curve.
Mhm.
We don't wait until law to mandate us to do the right thing.
Mhm.
And I think being proactive within the community, and we work with advocates. So if there's a church, a nonprofit, a
Yeah.
school organization, if you would like for us to do a demonstration, bring us, staff could come to talk about the process. We could do a Zoom session. On average, between elections, we do between 400 to 500 outreach events. We're very
Oh,
aggressive.
wow.
I don't think anyone could touch
Yeah.
us. I don't know of any other agency,
I
not
don't
just
think
Montgomery
so.
County, but
Yeah.
at the statewide. We're
Mhm.
very aggressive because
As you should
every
be.
day someone's turning 16.
Mhm.
Every day someone's becoming a naturalized citizen.
Right.
And there's no reason why they need to wait 45 days before election day to learn about the process.
All right. Now, what else should people know about voting in the county, or something that you may need to reiterate that no matter
Mhm.
how many times you tell us,
Mhm.
someone's going to forget. What are
Of
some
course.
of the things that you think you want to leave before we
Mhm.
close out today?
Look, number one, if you just woke up and dragged yourself out of a cage, you're hibernating, and you
Mhm.
realize there's an election,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We do have something called same day voter registration.
Oh,
So bring
whoa.
an
Okay.
ID, driver's
Mhm.
license, a governmental document with your name and current Montgomery County address. We will get you into the pipeline, register you, and you could vote. But for whatever reason, you just fell out the sky
Mhm.
and you don't have an ID, we're not going to turn you away. You will vote a provisional ballot, and we have safeguards. Not only for the sanctity, we want to keep the election sterile. We don't want individuals who should not be voting. But at the same time, these safeguards will allow us to afford you the opportunity to vote. And then we do our research, do our due diligence. And if we see that you are registered, you meet the state requirements to cast the ballot, we will submit your provisional ballot through the provisional canvas.
Mhm.
And then what happens is then you will get to vote. One really quick tidbit regarding mail-in voting. A lot of people
Okay.
will select the print at home web delivery, which
Mhm.
is essentially you get to print your ballot at home or at the office.
Oh, wow.
Sounds glamorous, sounds very avant-garde, in this
Mhm.
world of Amazon.com, everything. And it's this whole issue of immediate gratification. We get it if you want to vote that form.
Mhm.
But keep in mind, when we get that print at home mail-in ballot that the State Board of Elections sends you, our bipartisan teams will then need to transpose or copy your 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper onto the official cardstock ballot.
Oh, wow.
So there's another administrative process that we have to go
Okay.
through. So, just to let you know, if you're printing it at home or at the office and it comes to us, we will need to transpose that into an official ballot. We get it if you're doing research on Mount Kilimanjaro or like in the Himalayas.
Yeah,
We get
yeah.
it. Who knows?
Mhm.
You got the internet, you got Starlink or what it's called,
Mhm.
and you download the application,
Right.
the form, the ballot, and you send it to us. But a lot of our mail-in ballot voters are like Rockville and Gaithersburg, Montgomery County. So, just to let you know, we will need to touch your ballot and we will need to transpose it with our bipartisan team before we could scan it.
And that's what's happening, MoCo. You have all that you need to get out there and vote. And the primary election is when?
So it's Tuesday, June 23rd,
Okay.
2026 from 7 a.m. to 8. Then early voting is from the 11th through the 18th.
Okay.
We have 14 early voting centers across Montgomery County.
Fantastic.
Drop boxes and mail-in ballots would be ready and circulating around Mother's Day through the 23rd of June.
And the website?
777vote.org.
All right. And you've heard it all here. So be sure to like, subscribe, and share this very important episode of the What's Happening MoCo podcast to let all your friends, neighbors, colleagues, and whomever else know how to vote.
Thanks for listening to What's Happening MoCo. Please subscribe via your favorite podcasting platform and follow us on Facebook. This podcast is brought to you by County Cable Montgomery, your source for news and information from the Montgomery County government. Connect with us via cable, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube by searching for County Cable MoCo.